My name is Race Randle, and my official position is a Senior Vice President of Development at Ward Village. Gosh, thinking back, I was actually born just down the street in the old Kaiser Hospital, which is now the Prince Hotel. But I grew up on the North Shore in Sunset Beach. My first memories, thinking back, are really in the water or on the beach, with the family. So thankful for that because I got to grow up on the beach for the most part. And it was either there or on job sites. My father was a home builder, still is, and he would be building homes through the North Shore, other areas of Oahu, and I would be typically on the job sites with him, trying to help as much as I could, being 3 or 4 years old, trying to swing a hammer. I moved around a lot. My father was a builder, and so we would typically move every 1 or 2 years. Started out on the North Shore of Oahu, actually moved to Maui, and was there up until intermediate school. I moved back to Oahu to the North Shore and actually moved in with my grandparents and went to Kahuku from intermediate all the way through graduation, which was great because I was typically the first one in the water after school if I get home. As soon as the bell rang, get a quick ride home so I could be out in the water. So she actually started as a freshman. She came out of another school. She was going to a private school. And so I met her as a senior. This was around 1999. And we've been together ever since. Really met at school, but spent our afternoons in the ocean. We both lived in Sunset Beach, and as soon as we get home from school, we'd be out in the water together with our friends.
One of the first things that drew me to Race was just his positive attitude, his energy, his love for friends, family, and for the ocean. Growing up on the North Shore, both of us, we would love to surf, hang out at the beach, and that's always followed us for years and years. From high school to college, we went to college on the mainland together near Beach Town, and then we decided we wanted to move home and have a family and have our careers here.
So I always wanted to be a builder. I grew up in that world where I'd be living in brand new communities. My father would be one of the first people putting up a home in each new neighborhood we lived in, whether it was Makawao, Pukalani, Waimea Bay, to be the first house going up. And I love that. I love seeing things start fresh and go from, what was previously, something else into a neighborhood. Went to school to study civil engineering. So I could understand really how communities are built, how they're made, and then studied business to ensure I understood the economics of it. Coming home has always been a priority because of family. Family is so important. Like I said, I lived with my grandparents through some of my most formative years, and so moving back to be near them was really critical. And to have my wife's family also here just made it the right decision at the time. Lucky for us, we both found opportunities to come home, which doesn't happen for everyone, and so we were able to make the jump back, and it's been a great time ever since.
Being near family was super important, and that's one of the things that has always been primary for Race. First and foremost is family. And so now moving from the North Shore to Ward, he really wants to create that family atmosphere here for us and for many others. So he can go to work, we can go to the farmer's market, and then walk across the beach to go surf. It's kind of ideal for us.
Growing up in a place that's been, I think, very focused on preserving the natural environment has kind of also helped me to understand both sides of development in Hawaii. There's this strong desire to preserve and conserve what's critically important, whether it's for agriculture or for natural environment, or most of the places that make Hawaii feel like Hawaii. At the same time, that critical need for development for homes, for our growing population, to make sure that we can keep homes affordable, we have to continue to build as our population grows.
Well, we first met Race when we were working on conserving the lands around the Turtle Bay Resort. He's originally from the North Shore, and he was part of our initial fundraising committee for that project, which turned out to be a very successful project. We conserved the area around the resort, as well as some Mauka agricultural lands. He really does so much for the Trust for Public Land in his community. As a member of our board, he supports us financially. He connects us to other friends, family, and colleagues who might support the Trust for Public Land. He's extremely strategic in the way that he thinks about these sort of public-private partnerships, and he's always willing to pitch in if we come up against some sort of roadblock. It's really such a great asset. Of course, he digs in too, so he got a group from Howard Hughes to come to our most recent Day on the Land, which is a community work day, which was a trail clearing. What was very nice about that day was that we were sort of clearing the trail and an area that the group hugs parents who have kids who are very sick, and they plant trees for their kids, and some of whom have passed away. And so that was a very meaningful experience.
Ward Village and the Howard Hughes Corporation has invested a significant focus in giving back, which is huge because there's a lot of opportunities to improve Hawaii outside of our boundaries, right? Outside of the 60 acres in Kaka'ako that we're redeveloping. And the easiest way to do that is through nonprofits that have specific focuses and causes of impact. I'm lucky enough now to live in the neighborhood. So my typical day used to be an hour and a half in traffic, is how I started my day. Now it's 5 minutes of a walk down the street to my office. I work with an amazing team. We have here over 100 employees that are looking at various aspects of transforming the neighborhood. From constructing the buildings, to designing the buildings, to operating the commercial and retail environment that we have. My day typically involves interacting with a lot of those people and helping to guide the master planning and the design of the next projects that are coming down the line. So like I said, I've grown up in a lot of neighborhoods, right? And I've seen them start when no one is there, right? And it's just a street and curbs and vacant lots. And then 5 years later, it's full of homes, it's full of kids riding their bikes, it's full of neighbors getting together for barbecues. Ward Village is starting to get to that point now where there's enough people interacting where on my 5-minute walk to work, I'll say hi to 2 or 3 people that are either walking their dogs or pushing the stroller that live in the building. I mean, starting to have that neighbor interaction that turns it into a neighborhood. And it starts to feel like a small town, right? Because you're in a place where when everything's walkable, you tend to run into your neighbors, right? You say hi, you see them at the beach across the street, you run into them at the grocery store. It's that kind of small neighborhood feel that just so happens to be in an urban environment.